So in today's video we are going to see about data preparation and analysis. First we are going to see about what is data preparation. So once you collect the raw data from the respondents, it is not in the general form. So it has to be analyzed properly, and whatever the responses which is being received or recorded by the investigator, the next stage of that is the preparation of data. That is, you have to make the data amenable for appropriate analysis. So here data preparation includes editing, coding and data entry, and it is the activity that ensures the accuracy of the data and the conversion from the raw form to a classified or a systematic form in order to reduce and the classified forms that are more appropriate for the analysis. For analysis part, the raw data should not be taken, so it has to be collected and it has to be gone through the data preparation stage like editing, coding and data entry, and after that ensuring the accuracy can define the analysis. So by preparing a descriptive statistical summary is the another preliminary step leading to the understanding of the collected data. So this is the steps and process of data preparation. First one is the editing, and the next one is the coding, and third one validation of data and data entry and classification and tabulation. First we'll see what is editing. So it is the customary first step in the analysis is to edit the raw data. So editing detects the errors and omissions, and also it corrects when and where it's possible. It certifies the maximum data quality standards are achieved. So the editor's purpose or the researcher's purpose to guarantee that the data has the following things. First one, it has to be accurate. Number two, it has to be consistent with the intent of the question and other information in the survey. And the third one, it has to be uniformly entered. Fourth is the complete, whether it's complete or not. And the fifth one, arranged to simplify coding and tabulation process. So this is the editing part. So first one is a field editing and the second one is the central editing. So coming to the first one, field editing in large projects, this field editing reviews, this is the responsibility of the field supervisor. It should be collected once it has to be done once after the data has been collected or gathered. So during the stress of the data collection and personal interview and the paper and pencil recording by the observer, the researcher often use the ad hoc abbreviations using special symbols. So soon after the interviews, the experiments or observation, the investigator should review the reporting forms. Now we'll see the second one, central editing. So central editing, it should take place when all the forms or schedules have been completed and returned to the office. So this type of editing implies that all forms should get a through editing by a single editor in a small study. So and also can be done by a team of editors in case of a large inquiry. So the editors or the researcher may correct the obvious errors which happens, and also as an entry in the wrong place. So if this entry is recorded in months where it has to be recorded in weeks, and you can change it in this way. And in case of inappropriate or on missing replies, the editor can sometimes go and determine the proper answer by reviewing the other information in the schedule. Sometimes also they can go and contact the respondent for much more clarifications needed. So being it's familiar with instructions given to the interviewers and coders, so do not destroy, erase or make illegible the original entry by the interviewers. It should not be made. Then original entry should remain legible, and make all editing entries on an instrument in some distinctive color or in standardized form. You can make it as a can differentiate with the colors and all. So an initial all answers changed or supplied. Then place initials and date of editing on each instrument when completed. So we'll see the next stage as coding. So coding refers to the process of assigning numerals or other symbols to the answers so that the respondents can put into a limited number of categories or into classes. So you can codify the answers or the respondents which is being collected from them. So numeric coding simplifies the researcher's task in converting a nominal variable. So like nominal variables like gender to a dummy variable, and using the SPSS or statistical software, Also can use alphanumeric codes as when we use M. So M for male and F for female, or other letters for transgenders and all. So in combination with the numbers and symbols for the genders. So it can be given as 1 for male as 1 and F as female for 2. So this coding involves assigning numbers or other symbols to answers so that the responses can be grouped into a limited number of categories. So in coding, categories are the partitions of data set of a given variable. So if the variable is gender, the partitions are male and female. Okay. So both closed and open response questions must be coded here. So this is some of the examples of a pre-coded question. So this is the question answer and how it is being codified. How often these days do you go to the cinema? So you can give it in scales. So more than once in a week as 1, once in a week as 2, once a fortnight 3, 3 or 4 times a year 4, and less often is 5, and never is 6. So this is how we can codify the respondents' answers. The next step is the validation of data. So after the data is coded 1 or 2, it has been done. It has to be validated for data entry errors. So the data then used for the further analysis. So it has to be validated. The purpose of validating is that it has been collected as per the specification or in a prescribed format or questionnaire. So for example, if the respondent is asked to rate particular aspect on 1 to 7, the obvious respondents should be 1 or 2 or 7. So any other inputted number is not considered as a valid one. So in case of a validation of data, the above data will be restricted to the integers between 1 and 7. So this minimizes the errors, and the other validations are age within a numbers like 100, dates such as date of birth, joining dates, etc. And also, a data validation is a method of checking the accuracy and quality of the data. So typically by performing prior to importing and processing, it is being done. It is another name known as data cleansing also. So this data validation ensures that the data is complete, that is no blank or null values, or unique and contains distinct values, that is not duplicated. And also the range of values is considered as what you expected by the researcher. And there are certain steps of data validation. Step 1 is determine the data sample, and step 2 is validate the database, and step 3 is the validate the data format. So the next we are going to see about the classification of data. So data having a common characteristics are placed in one class, and in this way the entire data get divided into number of groups or classes accordingly. So this classification can be done by the following two types depending upon the nature and phenomenon which is involved. The first one is classification according to attributes, and the second one is classification according to class intervals. So first, coming to the first type, classification according to attributes, the data is classified based upon the common characteristics, which can either be a descriptive one also, like examples like literacy, the sex, whether it's male or a female, and also it can also be a numerical one, such as defining a weight, height, income, etc. So the coming to the second one, classification according to the class intervals. These data relating to income or production or age, weight, etc. can come under this category. So those data is known as statistics of variables and are classified on the basis of intervals. Intervals is a thing which is ranges from 1 to 10, for example I'm telling. So for instance, persons whose income say are within rupees 200 to 400 rupees can form one group, and those whose income are within 401 to rupees 600 can form another group, so on. So this it can be done. And coming to the next one stage is the tabulation. So tabulation is the process of summarizing these raw data and displaying the same in a compact form. So either it can be the rows or columns, so that is in the form of a statistical table. So this is used for the further analysis. So in the broader sense of tabulation is an orderly arrangement of data in columns and rows, as I said. So the essential things under the tabulation are tabulation is essential because of these following reasons. So number one is it conserves space and reduce explanatory and descriptive statement to a minimum. Then now it facilitates the process of comparison, and it facilitates the summation of items and detection of errors and omission of errors, and it provides a basis for various statistical computations. And there are certain objectives of tabulation. First objective is to carry out the investigation is needed, then to do comparison, and number 3, to locate omissions and errors in the data, and to make use space economically, and in order to simplify data, and last it is used to for future references. And we are going to see the next one on the generally accepted principles of tabulation. So according to these principles only you can do this tabulation of data. I'm just giving the snapshot of whatever is very important. The number 1 is clear, concise and adequate data title has to be given, and it should be given a distinct number. For each and every table there should be a distinct number, and the column headings it must have the captions, and the row headings has the stubs. So the table will be very clear and it will be briefly understandable, and the units of measurement for each and heading and subheading must be indicated, and explanatory footnotes if needed, if it is really needed for concerning the table, it has to be placed directly beneath the table, that is after the table it can be the footnotes can be there, and reference symbols can also be used in such tables. And the source or sources, so from where the data in the table have been obtained from has to be mentioned, and columns are separated from the one by lines, and which makes it a table more readable, and also it makes more attractive, and the columns may be numbered as I said in order to facilitate the references, and decimal points and plus or minus signs should be in a perfect alignment. And last but not least, the abbreviation should be avoided here in order, like to the extent possible, and ditto marks should not be used in tables. So these are some of the generally accepted principles of tabulation. And we'll move to the next one, data entry. Once we did all the data preparation process, finally we'll go for the data entry, which converts the informations gathered by secondary or primary method to a medium by viewing the manipulation. So keyboarding remains the main stage for the researcher who needs to create a data file immediately and store it in the minimal space on a variety of media. So however, the researcher has profited from more efficient ways of speeding up the research process, especially from the barcoding and optical character and mark recognition. So this is all about the data entry.